Hello chess family, it's me National Master Jesse James, and today we're going to be going over another rule for how to sack your queen. In this one we're going to be seeing a very nice positional sacrifice that's actually going to leave black, well, just down in position because of the unsafety of the king. So one of the rules that we can come up with is, well, look for a weak king and attack it. Here we go. We're going to start off with e4, c5, knight f3, d6. d4, c takes, knight takes. Here we just got a standard Sicilian defense. Knight f6 attacks the pawn, knight c3 defends the pawn, and pawn e6. And now we're going into the major Nadjorf defense. One of the best defenses, or one of the best ways to play for black as far as complications go. If you're very good at attacking, I highly recommend you check out this system. Alright, bishop c4. This is the Fischer-Sozin attack. Pawn to e6. Not one of the best ways in my opinion to play, but definitely a way to play here for black. Bishop to b3, always a good idea to have your bishop being protected. Bishop b7, getting ready to castle. Bishop b3, castles, queen e2. This little nugget move says, hey, you know what? I might go ahead and castling over here to the queen side, as they haven't castled already, and well, queen e2 is just kind of moving out the way, saying I might be doing this. Bishop d7 gets played. Black obviously wants to bring the knight out over here. The knight takes on c6, was not to the liking when taking back with the pawn, as the bishop can be a little bit bad in those situations. Castles queenside. Alright, here we go. Fire on the board. Now we have opposite side castling. And the game here is, well, push your pawns up on both sides and try to attack your opponent's king. Typically, whoever gets to attack first will win the game. And, well, black did not wait. Pawn to b5 gets played, kicking those pawns up as soon as possible. Let's see what white's up to. Pawn to a3. Now, this is a move I would have criticized, up until fairly recently. But now I really do understand the idea of this pawn e3. This b4 is such a really big boost in the position. And if you win the pawn on e4, that, well, a3 has to get played over here. And it's not a move that you want to play because, remember the rule, wherever your pawns are, especially in front of your kings, try not to move them because, well, they can get pawn levers in, which can go ahead and make trades and open files up for the attack. A move like b4 does not seem unreasonable here for me for black at all. Even though it does give up the pawn, well, black might be able to create a very strong queenside attack very fast. Alright, here we go. Black went ahead and continued with queen c7. King to b1. Go ahead and just play that move every time that you castle queenside. Knight c6. And here we go. Let's start the attack here for white. Pawn to g4. Here it's roughly about an equal position here. Alright, black went ahead and played rook a c8. And I like this move, pawn to f4. Again, white's just kind of building up the center. e5, f5, g5 threats are all in the air now. And here, black went ahead and played pawn to e5, which, well, definitely not the best move in my opinion. Here, I'm very surprised about what white played here. Let's just say that you always want to make threats here, and, well, making trades can definitely hurt you. So here, white went ahead and played knight takes on c6. And, well, black's happy with this because after bishop takes c6, all you did was help trade off a piece, which is good because black was a little bit cramped back here. And, well, when the bishop goes here, we're putting pressure now onto the e4 pawn. Okay. Well, what was something better? I definitely would have recommended something like knight f5 here. Yes, they can still take here, but here we can take back with the g pawn, and now we see that we get the open g file here to attack with. This is something I would much more have preferred. Anyways, back to the game. Bishop takes on c6. Pawn to g5 gets played. Knight takes on e4. Knight takes on e4, bishop takes on e4. Here it looks like white's just sacrificing a pawn just so they can get the kingside attack on a little bit faster. Alright, rook hg1, nice little move here, getting to look over here at the kingside. E takes on f4, bishop takes on f4. Black was able to snag a pawn here, but the open files do guarantee a pretty crazy game here. Plus there is a little attack on this guy right here. And black plays the best move, what I would think, and goes ahead and plays something like bishop g6. And, well, although this looked like the good move because it moves back the bishop, we got some extra defense over here. Here, white sees a very good idea to start the kingside attack again. Pawn to h4, threatening h5, looking for those free temples to attack the king. Black went ahead and played a nice little move here. Rook f to e8, making a threat. And here we're going to go into our first question, or time for you to push pause and look what would you play here as white. I do challenge you to push pause and look what the best plan would be here for white. Alright, hopefully you push pause. Hope you're trying to figure this out. Now, whenever you're going over these games, especially whenever you're playing against a strong player, you need to always look for the moves that are not considered. What do I mean not considered? Well, here I can guarantee most people were thinking about moving the queen here. Why? Well, because what did black just play? He played rook f8, and he was threatening to look at some kind of sacrifice over here. Yes, that's very good, but one of the things you need to do to get to the next level is look for the move that is not considered. In this case, leaving your queen here and actually looking for other moves in the position. We will allow the discovery, and here we will get a very nice attack going. With that being said, here the best move and winning idea is to play h5 here. Wait a second, doesn't black just take on g5? Yes, they do, and here this is the winning plan. Remember, whenever you're going for these, you need to look for the complication moves and look for ways to attack your opponent's king, even if you have to give up your queen. Hopefully people watching this channel are going to start looking for this because, hey, it sounds like you want to sacrifice your queen or you're up for the idea since you're watching this video. With that being said, here we get the beautiful h takes on g6. And this is the move that black had not considered. It was a lot easier because it was 4 or 5 moves ago, though. Well, who doesn't take a free queen here? Rook takes on e8, and pawn takes on f7 check, and here the king ran to h8. Here we go. Bishop takes on d6. A move here that most people, again, probably weren't considering. Here, mostly everyone's considering about taking on g5, which is also a very good move here. Here, computer actually gives rook takes as g5 as the best move here. But hey, bishop takes d6 makes sense to me. Not only does it attack the queen, but it also puts pressure on this f8 square. And you have to be very careful here because, well, it's not so simple to defend the bishop. A move like queen to d8, simple chess. Here we make a queen, and after queen takes, bishop takes, now both of these guys are hanging, and you're up an extra piece here. Okay, so is there any way to defend this bishop here on g5? There is definitely no direct way to defend this bishop, that is for sure. So black went ahead and played queen to c6. And here, if you want to, you can go and get another piece here, but best is to keep up the attack and attack this weak king. This pawn is actually one of the reasons why this position is so good for white. Here we go. Rook takes on g5, and you can definitely sense that this king is very, very weak here. This is going to be the idea coming up pretty soon. Rook takes on c2. Oof. Here a lot of people would shudder because it looks like black is crushing through, but after you analyze it for a little while, you realize, well, this king is actually very safe with the pawn and the king. Okay, well, let's make our own threats, and here we can get to make a very strong threat threatening checkmate. And here the king is just so weak because, well, these rooks and queen are just not very good defenders over here. I bet you if black could, he would trade off a rook for a bishop in this situation, especially like a bishop on f6. Then that would actually be killer here. Not only would it be a great attacker, but it'd actually be a very good defender here. Here, white to move, what do you play? Bishop to e5, just writing the simple bishop takes on e5, bishop takes on g7 for checkmate. And this is not an easy move to parry. In fact, in the game, black went ahead and played rook c1 check here. Mind you, there is no good way to defend this g7 square. I mean, gosh, is there any way? I mean, you could play rook g8 and get checkmated 1, I guess. But yeah, so black has to go for counterattack. Rook to c1 check. Simple chess, the king goes to a2. You could take on c1 check, but it'd be kind of embarrassing here. After queen takes on c1, king a2, now you lose the rook over here on g5. So simple chess. Here after this, we just play king a2. Remember, we are threatening to take on g7 for checkmate. So here, yeah, black is just on the defense. And again, there's just no good way to defend this square. Here, the only way to stop mate, at least for this time, at this point it actually is a forced checkmate. He went ahead and played queen to h6. Okay, when you see a good move, look for a better one. White to move. What do you play in this situation? Here it is the forced checkmate in 7 moves here. What do you play here? All right, there's actually 2 moves here that are going to get you to the best response. Here we have the rook takes c1, people. And I'm going to go ahead and take a look at this one first just because, well, this wasn't played in the game. After this one, you realize that the rook cannot take, or else if they do take here on c1, well, it's just queen checkmates. So here the rook would have to move away. Rook f8 seems to be the best way to do it. And after this, you could just go with the same idea. Rook c to g1. Now they're in the take over here. And the checkmate will be coming very soon because there's just no way to defend. You can't even move the pawn. Can't move the king. The rook is taboo too. Game over. Well, what happened in the game was rook takes on g7 here. Remember, every move should be a check. And here, well, the queen is forced to take, so queen takes on g7. Now rook takes on c1. And again, you cannot take on e5 here. Well, you can just if you want to be checkmated. Rook takes on c1, c8 check, king g7, and well, queen f8 will checkmate, rook g8 will checkmate. Here I think it's pretty easy to see that the mate is coming fast when you have 3 pieces working against this king. Oof. So Rook f8 was played, just trying to hold on for dear life. And now for another spectacular move here by white. Rook over to g1, and you realize here it is in a pin. Oh my gosh. And well, if the queen does take on e5, rook to g8 is going to be check and mate after rook takes and new queen mate. So in the game here, black just tried to survive and played rook takes f7. And was white nice about this? No, they were not. They played the even crueler move of bishop takes on f7. And again, it's going to be forced checkmate here on g8. Well, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Remember, whenever you're looking for attacking your opponent, always consider the queen sack as an opportunity. Here we see that in the game, whenever was given the possibility, they played rook f8, and it looks like a strong threat, but it's just a pseudo threat. Always calculate about trying to sacrifice your queen if you get some free moves in, especially if you make your opponent's king weak. In this game, we saw that, well, after we were able to get the king weak, even though we only had minor pieces in the game, well, they were able to simply just attack this king, and there was no good way to defend. Well, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. We'll see you in the next one.